Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Becca and today I have my May book haul. So a few weeks ago I did post a big birthday unboxing where I unboxed all of the gifts that you guys and some of my bookish friends had sent to me for my birthday at the beginning of the month. None of those books are going to be included in this video, so I will link that video up here if you would like to see the books that I received then. Today's book haul is going to be a mix of the books that I received in April and May. I did only receive subscription box books in April, so the majority of the books in this video are going to be from May. Most of them are belated birthday gifts that arrived after I'd filmed my birthday unboxing, so a huge thank you in advance to anybody who has gifted me something that will be present in this haul. I appreciate you guys so much and you all made my birthday a little bit extra special. And then aside from the gifts and the subscription box books, the only other section we are going to be having in today's haul is the one that I'm going to be starting with, and that is going to be ARC copies that I have received from either publishers or the author. And the first one of those I have to show to you guys today is Burn by Patrick Ness. This was kindly sent to me by Walker Books, so thank you so much for that. The release date for this was the 7th of May. I have already read it. This is a young adult historical fantasy standalone that follows a young biracial girl in 1950s America. The plot of this one is a little bit difficult to describe, but it follows Sarah on her father's farm where they have just hired a dragon to help them work the land, which is something that only the extremely poor do. This book does have a dual perspective. The other character that we follow is a member of a dragon worshipping cult, and you are following both of their perspectives as it is building up to this big prophesized event. The rest of the arcs that I've received are all ebooks. The first three are the first three parts in a 4-part serial by Jessie Elliott and KJ Sutton, and they are A Whisper in the Dark, A Light in the Dusk, and A Memory in the Flame. I have also read all 3 parts of this serial. They are being released every 2 weeks. I believe that the final part is going to be released around the beginning of June, but these were all kindly sent to me by Kelsey, who is KJ Sutton, so thank you so much, Kelsey, for dropping these into my inbox. So this serial follows a vampire princess called Charlie Travesty, and she is just about to have her awakening, which is something that all vampires go through around the age of 23. They go to sleep, and when they wake up their eyes have changed colour, and the colour of their eyes denotes the sector of the city where they will be spending the rest of their lives. So this story pretty much kicks off where Charlie wakes up on the evening of her awakening and her eyes are not a colour that anybody expected, and everything kind of unfurls from there. This is an urban fantasy / paranormal romance serial, so we do have a couple of love interests in there, and there are also a couple of mysteries woven through the plot as well. The final arc I have received that I haven't read yet is The Court of Miracles by Kester Grant. This is a young adult fantasy. I believe that the release date was supposed to be the 4th of June and it has been pushed back, at least in the UK, to the 18th, so I will be reading it before it's released. But this is a young adult fantasy story that has been marketed as Les Miserables meets Six of Crows. I do believe that it is a Les Miserables retelling. The world is split between the royalty and the criminal underworld, which is called the Court of Miracles, and we mainly follow Eponine, who is a cat burglar and a member of the Thieves Guild. That's pretty much all I know about this one. This has had a huge marketing push behind it. Like, everybody and their mother has an arc of this, although I don't think I've actually heard any reviews of it yet. I was very intrigued. The final copy has a stunning cover, so I did request this from NetGalley. I was approved and I will be reading it very soon. So moving on to the books that I received from subscription boxes, I believe that the March Illumicrate book was Havenfall by Sarah Holland. I'm not sure if this is a standalone or the first book in a series. I do think that it is young adult. The setting for this is a place called Havenfall where there are 3 gateways to different worlds. I believe that our main character's job or destiny is to protect the alliance between all of the worlds that meet in this one place, but something happens to upset the balance and our main character has to investigate further. The April Illumicrate book was Dangerous Remedy by Kat Dunn. This is another historical French young adult fantasy. There are quite a lot of them about at the moment. I don't know too much about this, but I do know that it's set in Paris at around the turn of the 19th century, I believe, and we follow a group of unlikely heroes. Kind of a classic setup for a fantasy novel, to be fair, but there's something about this that is very intriguing and I really love the colour of the sprayed edges on this one. The April book for Owlcrate was actually one of my anticipated releases of the year, and that was Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy. This follows a girl who is a bone crier. I believe that the bone crier's job is to separate the living and the dead, or ferry the dead across to their final resting place, or something like that. This is a very sacred duty for them, but being a bone crier does come with a sacrifice, and every bone crier must kill their one true love. I believe that our male protagonist is going to be the bone crier's one true love, but he has a personal vendetta against the bone criers because I think one killed his father. So very excited about this. It seems like it's going to be a young adult fantasy with some romance elements, which you guys know I love, and the cover is illustrated by Charlie Bowater, who is one of my favorite bookish artists. So moving on to my belated birthday gifts, I'm going to be starting with the ones that didn't come with a note. So if you did send me any of these 3 items, then please let me know so that I can thank you properly. The first one isn't a book, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but it is Pretty Little Liars season 7. This one was sent to my dad's randomly. I don't know how that happened, and it didn't have a note, so please let me know if this is from you. And then 2 books that arrived together but without a note. The first one is Rat Queens Volume 3 by Curtis J. Weeb. This is an adult fantasy graphic novel series that follows 4 boozy battle maidens. This story starts out where they have been thrown into jail for starting yet another bar fight, and to be let out they have to complete a quest for the realm, which in this case is to clear out a goblin nest. I really love this graphic novel series. I love the story. The artist does start to change around this volume. The reason the art was changed was for a very good reason, but just personal preference wise, I don't like the art style as much going forward into this graphic novel series, but I am very much excited to continue with the story. And then the other book that arrived with that one was Angel's Blood by Nalini Singh. This is the first book in the Guild Hunter series, I think. This is a series that I first saw on Steph from the Novelty Corners channel. She really loved these books. I didn't think that they were my thing. However, since I've started reading more fantasy romance, and since I really love Crescent City, you guys have been recommending this series to me, so I did put the first book on my wish list. And now that I'm into fantasy romance and I'm wanting to read it more frequently, I'm really excited to read this. I know very little about this, but it follows a vampire hunter called Elena, who has been given this job by a very powerful archangel. As this is urban fantasy / paranormal romance, I expect that this will have various mystery plot lines running through it, as that does seem to be the popular format for the genre, but I'm very excited to see what the hype is about because you guys think I'm gonna love this one. The lovely Isabella very kindly sent me a box set of the Remnant Chronicles, which is comprised of The Kiss of Deception, The Heart of Betrayal, and The Beauty of Darkness. This is a young adult fantasy series that I have been interested in a very long time. However, I don't think that this is actually published in the UK, so in previous years when this first came to my attention, I never bought it. But this is a young adult fantasy that follows a girl. Is she a princess? Yes, she's a princess. So we follow a princess who runs away on her wedding day. 2 people are tracking her and trying to find her. One is a prince, one is an assassin, but as the reader, you do not know which one is which. Now that is all I know about these, so I'm not sure at what point in the series you find out which one is the prince and which one is the assassin, but it is a series that I've heard great things about. It has a plot that has intrigued me, and I've been very excited to read these for quite some time, so thank you so much, Isabella, for sending these my way. Next up, I have a couple of books from The Light of My Life, Zafina, also known as the Psychonix. The first book that she sent me was Fae by Cassandra Fae. This is the first book in a self-published fantasy romance series. It follows an immortal woman called Fae who has been cursed, and an immortal warrior called Kiernan who is atoning for centuries of bloodshed and killing. They are drawn to each other, and it's fantasy romance. That's all I know, but I have seen good reviews for this on Goodreads, and I'm very excited. The second book that Zaf sent me was Bats of the Republic by Zachary Thomas Dodson. This is a book that I was interested in because my friend Najwa brought this to my attention based on my interest in the Book of S. I really love mixed media books. I find them very interesting. I love that alternative version of storytelling. So I did add this to my wish list, and this is absolutely stunning. If you just look under the dust jacket, it has a beautiful design and also a beautiful underside of the dust jacket. I have looked at the synopsis of this. It is extremely complicated, but I think that it is part historical fiction and also part dystopian. The story starts off in the 1800s where a naturalist has been asked to deliver a letter to a commander, so he is traveling across country to do this. Then I believe that the story picks up again 300 years later where society has pretty much collapsed and humanity is in its last legs. So this is just a beautiful collection of random mixed media. We have excerpts of books in here, we have case files, there's also newspaper cuttings, and there are also quite a lot of drawings of animals in here as well. I'm really excited to read this. I also think that it may be a easier read than the Book of S because it does seem a little bit more simple, but I also think that there is a hidden clue in here or a hidden riddle that you have to find out as you're going through. I have no idea what that is. I'm not very good at finding things like that, so I'm not sure how successful I'm going to be, but I guess we'll find out when I finally pick this book up. And of course, a big thank you to Zaf for sending these two my way. A big thank you to lovely Christy for sending me Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida Cordova. This is the first book in the Brooklyn Brewer series. This is a Latin X young adult fantasy, I think it's young adult, that follows a girl who is a very powerful witch. However, I believe that she does not want her power, so at her Death Day celebration, she performs a ritual to try and get rid of her magic, and this backfires terribly. I've heard excellent things about this series. I don't think it's incredibly popular, but the people who I know who've read it have really enjoyed it, and the covers are absolutely stunning, so I hope I can get to this soon, and I hope I really love it. The wonderful Brit from Basically Brit kindly sent me Never Contented Things by Sarah Porter, so thank you so much, Brit. This is a young adult fantasy that contains fairies, and I think that we mainly follow two foster siblings in here who are kidnapped and taken to the fairy court where they must escape. This has received very mixed reviews on Goodreads, but you know, it contains fairies. I think there's a romance element in here as well, so I'm very intrigued about whether I'm going to like this one or hate it, but thank you so much, Brit, for sending this to me. Thank you so much to Maura for sending me Oathtaker by Audrey Gray. This is another self-published fantasy romance that has excellent reviews on Goodreads. This follows a young woman who was saved from captivity by a prince, so in return for him saving her, she has devoted her life to being his bodyguard and protecting him. However, one day he is kidnapped and she must team up with somebody who I think is going to be a love interest, and I'm really excited about it, to save the prince, which sends them on a big magical twisty adventure. Very excited about this, but I'm very excited for all the fantasy romance I have right now. And honestly, one of the things that drew me to this series amongst all of the other self-published fantasy romance, because there is a lot, is the absolutely stunning cover. So thank you so much, Maura, for sending this to me. The last one of my wishlist gifts I do not know too much about. It was sent to me by Rachel from Rachael Marie, so thank you so much, Rach. And it is Disenchanted by Brianna Sugalski. So this came to my attention through Rachel to start off with, as she was part of a blog tour for this book. She told me that it was a fantasy romance, once again took one look at the stunning illustrated cover and added this to my wish list, and because my connection to this is through Rach, she did send this to me for my birthday. I'm not sure too much about the plot of this because I did pick it up on Rachel's recommendation, and also because I'm always looking for new fantasy romance, but I think that this is a romance between a vampire and a fairy. I may be wrong on that, but I do think that the first 20% of this is quite difficult to get through, not particularly compelling and a little bit all over the place, but when you do get past that speed bump, it's a pretty great book from there on out. I'm always willing to give fantasy romance a try though, guys, to be fair, so let's hope that this one pulls through for me and I do really enjoy it, because me and Rachel don't actually have the same reading taste most of the time. But thank you, Rach, for sending this my way. Fingers crossed I like this one. And then the final book we have in this haul was a gift from my boyfriend Curtis for my birthday, and it is the Goldsboro edition of Aurora Burning. I did have an arc of this book, so I have already read it, gave it 5 stars, really loved it, but Curtis bought me the Goldsboro edition of this book because it was released on my birthday, and he also bought me Aurora Rising in the Goldsboro edition for my birthday last year as well. So this is the second book in the Aurora cycle. It's a young adult sci-fi that follows Squad 312, who are led by Tyler Jones. Tyler Jones is supposed to be finishing at the top of his class in a space academy. However, he's late to his graduation ceremony because he is rescuing a girl from the 200-year-old wreckage of a spaceship. Because of this, instead of being able to pick from the cream of the crop of his graduating class, he has to pick his squad from the bottom of the barrel. So he ends up with this ragtag group of people who are actually really good at what they do. They just really suck at teamwork. So the story story to this kicks off when they embark on their first mission as Squad 312 and find out that the girl that Tyler rescued has stowed away in their ship, and she is manifesting some mysterious powers that are very new and very volatile. As I said, this is the Goldsboro edition, so it has orange sprayed edges, orange end papers, although to be fair that could be in all of them, I don't know, and it is also signed and numbered. So I think that is about it for my May book haul. Once again, a huge thank you to anybody who has gifted me a book that was present in this video. Please let me know down in my comments which of these books you guys have read and which ones I should prioritize, especially for things like the self-published books and the lesser known books where I haven't seen many, if any, reviews of them, so I could do with a little bit of your guys' advice. But that is all for this video, so please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you want to. If you head into my description box, you'll find a link to my Goodreads, Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to follow me on any of those, as well as a link to my Bookish body butter and candle website, the Instagram for that, and 10% off discount code. But that's it from me today, guys. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you will go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.